What's up, guys? Studfit here, joined by Antolev for another episode of The Rundown. We are now in the much-anticipated PD Piranha plant. Welcome, Antolev. What do you think about our boy PD?
I think it's a pretty exciting tour. After the city tours, we finally get back to a normal tour. We got a new original character with a good skill, a new track that's like pretty awesome. I know there's a lot of PD Piranha fans out there. So it's good that they all get a driver that they've been waiting a long time for. And I'm especially thinking about the Twitter account, which is posting every day, like, X number of days since PD Piranha is not in the Mario Kart Tour. They can finally stop doing whatever they're doing. But yeah, really exciting tour. Everything seems really cool. Some really interesting new items as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, that ticker, I would anticipate they can start focusing their time on how long it's been since we've had a DK experience or a Kong added to the game. I know Cranky would be the next one up. He went head-to-head against PD Piranha in the Kart Life March Madness tournament. So I guess, Cranky, you're the next one up, or at least a DK alt. We'll take literally any Kong experience. I know the fans are clamoring for it. Before we get any further, there's a lot to discuss. I even did my own little top 10 run, and that was a lot of fun. But I first want to make sure to thank all these members. We've continued to grow. We're up to somewhere about 80 members or so, thanks to, I think, like 6 or so just in the last week. It's been so fun seeing this channel grow, see the members unite on Discord, and seeing so many of those pink and purple now, the little Studfit logo, and all the live streaming and just chatting throughout the premiere. So fortunate for all these members. Special shout out to the Super Studs, Wylan Zhao, Kareem J, This Be Chris, Frenzy Fans, Night Rosso, Nat, Princess Lady Rain, Jeeves 24, Larry 98, and Frenzy Grind. These guys keep it going. Special shout out to Larry 98. He's done so much to automate what was a very manual process. We cut about 4 or 5 hours off of the process behind the scenes. So we really appreciate Larry 98 for what he's done. Thank you. But he's also a super stud. So extra shout out to Larry 98. We see a lot of these names that are in silver. These are members that have joined just in the last 30 days, at least from the studs. And again, I apologize, did not get to update the Naughty Duds, but I'll make sure that gets out before we get to post this on Reddit. But thank you guys so much for the continued growth and the experience there. I do want to kind of just talk briefly about the top 10 experience. Just between Monday and Tuesday alone, I think we did something around, 10 hours of streaming. So the way that it worked out, you're probably, by the time you're watching this, you've already seen, most likely I finished number 11th, so just short of the top 10, which actually I wasn't even expecting to go for to begin with. What had happened was, last June, I guess not last June, last month, which was June, I was going to be on vacation with my wife, and so I knew I wasn't going to play the game week 2. So I basically did what my normal all-cup ranking grind, which is about 10 to 12 hours. I did, instead of doing it at the last minute, I did it early on, and it was really cool. I was in the top 10 for a number of days. I think it was number 1 for even the first day of our little vacation. And yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun, so I decided to do it again. And then I decided to do it again. And this past tour, in the Bangkok tour, I was actually doing pretty well. They're in the top 10 after a week or so. And then I started getting some really good runs. We're talking about, 95% plus on maybe 10 or so tracks going into week 2 of the tour. So I said, hey, why don't I keep doing it, see how many I can get? And then I went into Saturday. So about, I guess, what is that? 4 days before the end of the tour. And then I noticed after we saw the reveal of PD, everyone started saving their tickets. And there was a Rashid, who does the predictions, noticed that there was a huge gap in the top 10. And so it looked like a small little crack was open and that there was one spot left in the top 10. And I just said to myself, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. We had some plans throughout the weekend, took my kids to Busch Gardens and Chuck E. Cheese, and we had a blast throughout the weekend. But every once in a while, squeezing in a run here, squeezing in a run there, and it looked like I could still find, there was still one spot based on the production I had made over the weekend, still one spot going into Monday. So spent about 6 hours with you guys on Monday, added about 20K to my score. Based on what I thought I needed, I would maybe need another 20K. Then I woke up Tuesday and I realized somebody not even close to the top 10 had leapfrogged everybody and jumped well, I think like 6th or 7th on the list. So I knew right then and there it was done. I wasn't going to have enough time. I was traveling to Tennessee and wasn't going to be able to do it. But you know what? so enjoyed the experience with you guys. I had to go back at it, and we had a blast. Tuesday started. Both days were like, they're like kids. Like, I love them both. Monday was awesome in its own way. We were talking about bands in the '90s. I think we spent about 10 minutes talking about Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park. And Tuesday, we were talking about snacks and our favorite chips, and man, it was just so much fun to hang out with you guys. I think I will be hopefully streaming one day again. It was an absolute blast, but could not do it without the members. Honestly, I wouldn't have been streaming until 3 a.m. in the morning my time if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you to everyone on this list. I'm so appreciative of what you guys have done. So, all right, now they got that out of the way. Again, that was a real big moment on my timeline, so I appreciate everyone's support throughout that experience. It was a lot of fun. But we have PD Piranha, the much anticipated and I think well done PD Piranha from, I guess, the Double Dash series. It comes back from a while ago from, I guess, the Mario Sunshine, a couple other series and games, and it's been cool to have him finally introduced to Mario Kart Tour. He comes alongside a pretty substantially sized Kart and a glider, both matching his very unique look. So, Antilev, what's your thoughts on the PD Piranha Plant Pipe 1?
Yeah, so it's a pretty typical week 1 pipe, 6% 100 pipe with the new spotlight set. Nothing really more to say about the pipe itself. It's we'll get into the items, I guess, later, but it's a pretty standard week 1 pipe, so nothing out of the ordinary here.
Yeah, let's get into the new items. There's a number of them, partly because of the new pipe, and we have a couple other items in different packs, etc. So let's talk about the epic duel between PD Piranha and his own Mii suit. So obviously, any type of Mii suit, it seems like their trend has been that they've had less tracks than a newer item just in general. But because of the base points, it kind of balances those out. So you kind of have the situation where you have this overpowered, this OP base points attraction on the Mii side, and then you have the fact that PD Piranha, I mean, his original character is a large hitbox. He's got there's something about like actually having the real PD that's going to draw some attention, and his higher number of courses. But both of them having the same skill. Antilev, are you placing your bets on one over the other? Or are you going to be going both of them pretty high, or are you still catching up from everything else we've had?
I was looking at my account this weekend, and I was looking at my Miis and actually realized I have not invested in any of the Miis, like not a single one of them. None of them are at a point where they give enough coverage where it's like this is something which is going to add like a lot of value to my account, especially to bring it up from like level 1. So I feel like it's really unless one of them really hits some specific tracks where you really have a weakness from and you need those, and I have done that on my free-to-play account with the King Boom Mii suit. It's really tough just because their coverage is so narrow. So I mean, I just generally tend to avoid them, and I am buying the suits with rubies to get the base points up when I get to the point where maybe I want to take gold Mii or silver Mii or bronze Mii or whatever up. But to this point, I haven't really been. It hasn't been worth it for me. In terms of investment to invest those. So let's talk a little bit about the starting tracks of these two new drivers. For PD Piranha, he starts with 9 tracks. It's a bit of a mixed bag here, to be honest. I'm not like that impressed with his start. 6 of his 9 tracks are coin box tracks. He's got some pretty older tracks. He's got 2 Yoshi circuits, Choco Island 2, then he's got Ghost Valley 1 RT and Mario Circuit 2 RT. So that's 5 of his 9 starting tracks are pretty old, and 2 of them are RT, so it's not really good value. He does, of course, 2 of the new Piranha Plant slides, and he's got Bowser's Castle R that has some coin boxes and boomerangs on it already, from what I know. And then finally, he's got Coconut Ball R, which is a great track, but that's his level 8 unlock. So to be honest, yes, he is got a great skill, but at the same time, his starting tracks it's not terrible, but it's not amazing. So do you want to pull for him? Like, if he came out 6 months ago, I would have said this is an absolute must pull. But this is now the 5th and 6th boomerang driver we've gotten this year, making 8 top shelf boomerang drivers we have in the game overall. And I think we're so crowded with plus skill drivers that it's not essential that you pull for everyone anymore. Actually, you can't pull for everyone and invest in them anymore.
No.
So I think, with anything else, he may end up being the number 1 driver in the game. There's nothing we can say about that right now. But you have to make decisions if he fits into your coverage and cover some holes, or if you're just a big fan, he will end up being pretty valuable. There's no way he won't be a top 10 driver eventually, but really look at your own account and decide if he's for you or not. I'm not going to say it's a must.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think with PD Piranha and the PD Piranha Me, I mean, it's really tough just with coming out of all these top skills. You're really having to pick which ones you really enjoy. And I think Boomerang are the ones that I'm trying to limit myself with. Maybe have one that I really enjoy, and I'm really glad that track can be boomboxable when it comes up. But I think that one's one that I'm trying not to get too excited about. Just because I know that I'm not going to probably be grinding for that epic boombox run all the time, or want to for that matter. So I think my stance will be probably to hold back on PD. Obviously, I have him. I'll probably get the PD Piranha Misu to this upcoming week in ranked, but it's gonna be one of those that I stash and just wait and see what happens. If there's a track where it's like, if he ends up kind of making a run similar to Shy Guy Ninja last year, then I might pull the trigger. But really, from my strategy is still kind of just focusing on the coin boxers. So I just took up Daisy to 1400, which I think her starting coverage was mediocre, and her buffs this tour are not like super involved in rank. There's one track that's just really good on, but it's a Chaco Island one. So I think for overall, she's not like really helping out my account really altogether that much, but what she is covering is the stuff that Gold Yoshi had. I don't have him at a high level, so she's helping me out there. But that's just my strategy. My strategy is to just kind of take every coin boxer to the max, and if there are any gaps, just kind of have some other stuff that Nintendo's kind of filling in. And right now, honestly, that strategy is going to be hopefully working out this summer. Whereas I'm kind of using Daisy as a stopgap. I do really want to invest in the question mark block head coin box me suit. He's going to be one that I eventually want to take up, but his 9 assumed tracks are just not enough right now to pull that trigger, kind of go full circle on the me conversation. So right now, I kind of want to circle back and invest in him after he gets 4 or 5 more tracks. So that'll be kind of a late summer investment. And right now, hopefully Daisy will cover me over the weekend, over the next 2 months. So that's my strategy. But yeah, PD, I'm really hoping that this Daisy will get kind of some of these tracks that PD might get, and I don't have to try to invest in another boomerang driver just because I'm trying to save my sanity with these boombox tracks. But let's talk about the other items we got. Obviously, there's a lot of PD stuff and some other new cool Ninja and Streamliner options.
Yeah, so we didn't actually discuss the suits starting tracks. So yeah, only 6 as it is typical for the suits that don't have the double unlocks level 3 and level 6. But kind of similar. It's a bit of a mixed bag. It's got also 2 Piranha Plant slide tracks, RNT, Sky Garden T, which is maybe that one's best buff. I think only Luigi Vacation is really and Yoshi Kangaroo there. So it is a shared boomerang track. It's still a very paywall track. And he's got Yoshi Circuit R, Bowser's Castle R, and Ghost Valley 1 RT. It's a couple of older ones in Bowser's Castle R. There's Shy Guy Ninja, King Bob Gold, and Kamek on it, so you probably have that one pretty well covered already. So yeah, kind of in the middle, and it's meaty suit, but it does have the good skill. So I mean, if you so I think it's like you said, one to try and win in ranked, and then just stash it and see how it develops. Moving over into the new carts, we've got 2 new carts, one in the week 1 pipe and one in the week 2 pipe. Let's start with the Piranha pipes in the week 2. the week one pipe rather. This PD Piranha's cart. It's a bigger cart. There's been a lot of discussion over how big is this cart actually. Rashid has measured it. It should be somewhere in the neighborhood of like Lunar Cruiser and the Cucumbers. So it's a large cart, but it's not quite like, I don't know because I don't have it and I haven't driven with it yet, but as far as the measurements go, I
can say like I've been grinding on 200cc and trying to get as many tokens as possible. Just kind of running this the Plant Slide R track with Daisy, and I think it's a very unique shape, right? So it's very tall, and so you feel like you're big, but and the wheels kind of stick out a little bit, but. I think it feels bigger than the hitbox really is. I don't think I'm like getting coins everywhere like I feel like I am with the off-roader or the Vampire Flyer, but it is big. It's if you like wide carts more than long carts, which I think you're kind of in that camp, Antilev, you might enjoy the cart. But again, it's large. It definitely is large, but I think because you're raised, it feels bigger than it really is.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So it's let me look at the actual spreadsheet to see where it falls. It is number size 20th on the list, including like the families, so not
right
one per line, but it's right in between the Lunar Cruiser and the Cucumber, and it is 85.7% as big as off-roaders, which are the biggest cars, off-roaders and Combo Cruiser, which are the biggest cars in the game. So it's in that above average. It's like, if you like a Rumby Runner, probably you like this one. It's kind of similar size-wise. The starting tracks, sorry, I lost my other thing. Yeah, the starting tracks starts with 9 tracks. Overlap. The main worry here is that it's got 3 overlaps with the jukebox buggy, which is a very popular card at the moment. But otherwise, not too much. Only having 3 overlaps with a yellow 8 pipe frame, tuk-tuk cart, Macba broom, and shear ship. So a pretty solid start as well for that one. And the other cart we have in the week 2 pipe, which I guess we'll get to later, the Lightning McQueen liner, or Cars cart, whatever you want to call it. Actually, this I want to talk a little bit in depth about this one because this is one of the strongest set of starting tracks that I've ever seen an item in the Mario Kart Tour. I know the pipe is like really not that good, but this kart has such an amazing starting set of tracks that it's really. I almost want to go into that pipe just for this kart because it's going to be like I feel like it's gonna. It started so good that it can almost not be bad. So let me just pull up the tracks real quick and I can see exactly what it has.
Yeah, I saw Big Brolo posted in our server just like the number of tracks and which one it comes with, and like all of them are really strong.
Yeah, so it's got 2 of the new Piranha Plant Slides, it's got 2 Sky Gardens, it's got 2 Coconut Malls out of its 9 starting tracks, it's got Bowser's Castle R, which is a pretty tough track to cover for Karts, and then it's 2 like old tracks, are RMX Rainbow Road 1, RM1T, which are also like not easy to cover. So those are like there's good value in all 9 of its starting tracks. It's honestly, and 8 of those 9 are tracks from 2022. Yeah, well, okay, Bowser's Castle R is like almost 2022, but they're all like really new tracks aside from the 2 RMX Rainbow Road ones. I mean, you'll see later in the rankings, I think it starts out at like this rank 65 on the top 10 rankings, like which is crazy because most stuff starts like in above 100 or something like that.
Plus, one of my kind of gut feels is that typically there's like one of a family that does really well, and all of the streamliners have been absolutely just pure hot garbage up until now. Sure. So this Lightning McQueen, I'm with you, man. I think this has really strong start. It's gonna be a really strong kart. If you love coverage and you need coverage on these tracks, it's as we're gonna get to, not a great pipe otherwise, but. Yeah, this item specifically, if you're ready to pull it, I think maybe we'll get to it when I get a pipe. I'm not going to be necessarily going for it, but I think anyone who like especially like goal pass only, like if you actually want like really maximize your coverage, really just kind of take advantage of every gap in your Brandon Gerb spreadsheet and your Antilev spreadsheet, go for it. I think it's a great cart for that gold pass only, small dolphins, even free to play. Again, I may not recommend that pipe for a free to play player, but I think this is a great cart. You can, if nothing else, pray that you get it in your freebies, because this is going to be a monster cart to invest in for kind of that smaller pay to win player.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of the Silver King. It's in a week 2 pipe, which is very questionable in a tour where a new plus skill driver has come out. So yeah, but I almost thought let's just like not talk it up too much so that Nintendo doesn't get wise to how
well, they can't take these tracks back. I mean, this is a great. You're right. Like just starting wise, this has and it's only going to get more tracks. So usually we kind of just take the starting tracks with a grain of salt. But this is a great starting set.
Right. And what we've seen in the past year is how important the start is for an item. When an item has a good start, it at least the floor is really high. And when it has a bad start, it's very, very rare that it becomes a really top item. So it's like a pretty safe, if you happen to get this, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend pulling the week 2 pipe for, but if you happen to get it, it will be a very safe investment, I would say. Let's move on. It's enough spending time going crazy over this the Cars cart. We've got the new PD Piranha's glider, the Piranha Plant Balloons. It's starting with 9 tracks. It has overlaps with actually it's quite a lot of overlaps. It's got 4 overlaps with this new Secret Skull and a new 8-bit 1-up mushroom, and it's also got 4 overlaps out of 9 tracks with the Candlelight Flight, which is a top glider at the moment. I think number 2 on our list or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also 3 overlaps with Strawberry Donut, Rose Parasol, Record Setter, and Dream Glider. Those are all really meta gliders.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance you have all or most of this glider's tracks already covered. So for me, that's a bit of a worrying start just due to the overlap. I mean, it depends on your inventory, of course, what items you have. But I will say one thing: it has all 3. It's one of the few items to have all 3 of the new Piranha Plant Slide tracks. So that's pretty impressive. The overlap is a bit worrying. Let's move on. We've got the Secret Skull, which is the spotlight in the special pipe coming up. It's Pinja's Big Ninja Shy Guys glider. Finally gets his own. That one is starting with 9 tracks. Overlap 4 times with the Piranha Plant Balloons, 4 times with Cat Parafoil, 4 times with 8-bit 1-up mushroom, 3 times with Wonderful Wings, Record Setter, Mario's Mustache, and Candlelight Flight. Again, some very, very hot gliders there at the moment. So also a bit of overlap, which is a little bit worrying. It does look really cool though. And it's a spotlight and a 50 pipe, so will be easier to get if you are skipping over the PD Piranha. And then finally, I've got the 8-bit 1-up mushroom. My thoughts on 8-bit gliders in general, they're more or less guaranteed to be amazing items, at least coverage-wise. There's not a single 8-bit glider in the game, which is not good. So if you do buy this one, it's 20. It's just 45 ruby banner. You can feel safe in putting some tickets on it, and it will turn out good. It's got a pretty good start, starting with 9 tracks, overlapping with Secret Skull 4 times, Piranha Plant Balloon 4 times, 3 overlaps with Tropical Glider, Super Mario Kart Glider, Strawberry Crepe, Record Setter, Pretzel Glider, Mario's Mustache, Cat Butterfoil, and Blue Piranha Footer. So that's a little bit, I would say the only real meta glider there is the Record Setter and maybe a little bit Mario's Mustache, but the overlap there is like a little bit less worrying. It's got 2 Piranha Plant Slides, 2 Sky Gardens, Rainbow RMX Road, Rainbow Road 1R, a couple of the RTs that are both in ranked, and 2 Choco Islands. So a mixed bag, but less overlap with some meta gliders. I would say out of the 3 gliders, that's probably the safest one to invest in, and probably the one with the best start.
Nice, man. Well, good. Yeah, I will say for my account, the Candlelight Flight, it would give me that Piranha Plant Slide and the R version, both of which would be the what's like the weakest 2 tracks for me between the Piranha Plant Balloons or the 8-bit Mushroom. So I'm gonna have to decide between those,
I did
One of
that.
those.
I took the candlelight flight to 7 and I double camped this week.
Nice.
So yeah.
It might be a smart move for a lot of people as well,
Ah.
as compared to the T version has the golden wing. So yeah, you're not too worried about that. Well, cool. That's helpful. Awesome. Good. Let's talk about the non-spotlight items for the drivers. Nothing new. We do have the next week's spotlight high-end drivers, which aren't that great, but they're there as non-spotlights for the week 1 pipe. And then you also have the Sunny Surf Sailor entering as a permanent item in these 100 pipes. So again, we have a lot of carts, but the Sunny Surf Sailor, a very unique hitbox. It's got a kind of a unique, I guess, view box is what we're calling it, where it's kind of covers some of the track. But it's been around for a while. It's not bad though. It's cool, kind of that they're adding it. We'll see what happens as the coming months go by. But no new gliders added to the non-spotlights. What's interesting is that next week there are no spotlight gliders. So if you're thinking like, hey, there's one more item left in the pipe, and it's it's a glider. It's like one of the non-spotlights. Just know you're not going to get anything from next week's pipe. Nothing new there. Let's get into that week 2 pipe. We have the Piranha Plant Pipe 2 with these Marios and their cars. What are your thoughts to have on this week 2 pipe?
Pretty brutal. Like the fact that there's no spotlight gliders is quite weird. I feel like that's. I mean, I can't really recommend anyone pull this pipe. The drivers are all like pretty awful. I mean, like Mario Golf is decent. He's got like good coverage, but not like such good coverage that his lack of a decent skill is gonna put him into a category of somebody you want to invest in. Mario SNES, he's cool and has got his cool sounds and animations, but his he used to be like had some paywalls. It was pretty interesting, but I think his day is kind of past. And Mario Classic is really one of the worst high-end drivers in the game. He's just absolutely terrible. 8-bit pipe frame, kind of similar. It's just not very useful, and it's not big. The 2 other carts, though, we just went over. We were just gushing over the Lightning Queen liner, how good of a start it is, and how safe it would be to invest in that one. And the original B Dasher Mark II, or Sprinter as it's known in some countries. It's one of my favorite carts in the game, design wise and useful wise. We only have it at 39 on the list. And a big reason for this is because it has a lot of tracks where there is also a super cart covering it, and the ratings penalize items that have coverage on tracks where there's also a super item there which you can use. But if you have the type of account where you have full coverage and you rely on a lot of supers to cover these tracks, this is one of the best carts in the game you can invest in, because it covers a lot of those tracks and has almost no overlap with newer meta carts. If you look in any kind of tier list tracker program, Bamagerbs or otherwise, you'll see that it will fit into your inventory. If you invest in a lot of new meta cards, you'll see that this cart will almost invariably be one of your best options to upgrade, to give you the most upgrades possible, just because it doesn't have overlap, and it'll really let you take your account to the next level by replacing those supers with a nice big hitbox card that will cover a lot of those weird courses. So that's a really great card as well. So yeah, if you're building this pipe, it's because you want to get that one and the new card. But to be honest, 2 carts is not enough reason for me to go into 100 pipes. So I'd say this one's probably a pass. And then I would assume we're gonna get 3 off spotlight gliders, which is okay. Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
That's the debate. Is it going to be 4-4-1 or
yeah, it could be that too.
Or 3-3-3. With 3 non-spotlight gliders. It could be one of either option. I kind of put a question mark here, just for discussion point. It could be 3 non-spotlight gliders. I'm actually kind of leaning more towards 4-4-1, but you never know. It's Nintendo. This is the first time we're really seeing this kind of like 3 spotlight drivers, 3 spotlight carts, and no spotlight gliders. It's interesting. We've seen 3 all spotlights before, but yeah, this one's weird. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think really the Lightning Streamliner is like the only one that I would get excited about, but it's almost like so lackluster. I almost feel like it's gonna hype up this Lightning Streamliner from almost even higher than it would be otherwise. The other thing I mentioned, you mentioned the B-Dasher Mark II. I think this is more of a whale Karts because I think for the majority of Gold Pass only players, they're happy using those supers. They're like, if I can use these supers and not have to like invest my high-end tickets into something to it's going to overlap with these supers, they're going to probably be deterred from that. Whereas myself, that's exciting news. That gets me pumped. So just for what it's worth, it might be, or a new player, you're probably even wanting to use the supers too. So that'd be my opinion on that. But other than that, slam dunk for you there. We do have a special pipe, which is really, really unique in my opinion. It's called a Bowser's Minion pipe. It's 50 pipe. We have this new secret scroll, which is the kind of alt version of the Ninja scroll, tying itself to Pink Shy Guy Ninja. What's interesting is that Pink Shy Guy Ninja and the Sakura Hop Rod were both in a pipe not too long ago during the Ninja tour, the tour with Samurai Mario. But what's interesting is, kind of instead of King Bob-omb Gold and King Bob-omb, you get Kamek and Bowser Jr. Pirate. So, that part's kind of interesting. If it's, between Kamek and King Bob-omb, they're both pretty good. They're both, we're really, really involved and not so much anymore. Obviously, King Bob-omb Gold was a little bigger hitbox, but Kamek had kind of some newer items. But neither one of them are like really involved in ranked or World Cup ranking that much anymore. But man, other than that, like they're nearly identical. At that time, the Shy Guy Ninja was a spotlight. It doesn't appear he'll be the spotlight here. In our opinion, it would be the secret scroll being the spotlight plus a two driver, two kart, and then one remaining extra non-spotlight glider. But just like any of these pipes, nothing's guaranteed other than maybe this secret scroll. If you're looking to get that Sakura Hop Rod because you missed it the first time around, there's no guarantee you'll get it. You could spend thousands of rubies and still not get that Hop Rod, which is still very elusive, man. It was elusive the first time around, and it's equally as elusive this second time around. I'm surprised they didn't make that a little bit more available. But for me, someone who has it at 8,700, I'm happy. I'm glad that they kept it very elusive. But we'll see. Are you pulling this pipe, Antelope? What's your thoughts on it?
So here's my philosophy on special pipes and 50 pipes. Like, if you try to go into a special pipe pulling for one specific item, which is not a spotlight, you're going to have a bad time. But if the pipe has overall mostly good items, then they're better value than 100 pipes. And like my free to play account, for example, I basically only go into 100 pipes when there is like a coin box driver, a new coin box driver. Otherwise, I pretty much stick to 50 pipes only, just because they have better value. But you have to make sure that you don't want to go for specific items. You want to go for pipes where most or all of the items are good. So like that 8-bit glider pipe we had a little while back, that's a good example. Almost all of the items in that were really good. So this is another pipe like that. If you look at just the drivers alone, 3 of the 4 drivers are excellent drivers. I know Shy Guy Ninja and Kamek are more like ACR drivers these days and not so much ranked, but Pink Ninja is one of the hottest drivers in the game right now. So if you get 3 of those 4, even if you're just pulling for dupes or whatever, it's really good. The gliders is the same. You've got a new spotlight glider and then 2 of the other 3 really, really good gliders. The 8-bit Bill and the Dream Glider, both phenomenal gliders. The karts are a little bit meh. Zoom Room has great coverage, but it's broom. Sakura Hop Rod, like you said, it's rare, but it does have some paywalls, and it's still got some buffs to go. It's a pretty new card, so it's still like a nice opportunity to get a new card, which is like pretty decent. So overall, I think this is maybe value-wise, this is probably the best pipe of the tour. It depends on what you have in your account. Like my main account, I already have Pink Shy Guy Ninja and regular Shy Guy Ninja at level 8, so for me it's like a little bit less interesting. But like for another account, if you don't have any of those drivers, or if you want to get those leveled up, I mean, it's a great pipe.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, when the similar version of this pipe came out during that Samurai tour, I probably pulled on that version of the pipe probably more than any other pipe in Mario Kart Tour history. I even got some I use like the week 1 rubies, the week 2 rubies, including like the extra pack that they had, and I even got a couple extra rubies in addition to it. It was like right as level 8 came out, so I was like happy to get supers. I just needed help, just like basically maxing everything out. So my goal was literally to take Shy Guy Ninja as high as possible, but I also was able to get King Bob-omb Gold to level 8. I was able to get a lot of items that, I mean, all these items. If you can get Shy Guy Ninja and Kamek, and Shy Guy Pink Ninja, if you can get all 3 of these drivers to a high level from just pull multiple times, assuming that you're kind of more of a whale, you should do it. And if you're free to play, I think your strategy of free to play, only point for coin boxers, and literally every other ruby is going towards these special pipes. Especially this one. This is like a perfect example of what the pipes that a free-to-play player should be pulling on. So
and one other thing, I would say, if you have a regular account like Gold Pass or whatever, and you are considering starting a free-to-play account, this tour is a good tour to do it, because what you can do is start the account, pull in this pipe. If you have bad RNG, you can like delete the account and start over and wait till you get some luck, maybe get a couple of drivers in the first 10 pull or whatever, and getting those 3 drivers, Pink Ninja, Shy Guy Ninja, and Kamek, that is an amazing start to a free-to-play account. So if you were considering starting a free-to-play account, that's a really nice time to do it. Plus, you get 2 amazing gliders and maybe a spotlight glider as well. So yeah, that's even another thing.
That's interesting. I never heard of someone recommending to start an account and just deleting it if you don't like the things. But
I didn't do it, but I've heard. I mean, like I started my free-to-play account in the Ninja Tour because it had such a good special pipe. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna pull the hell out of this special pipe. It's got a spotlight driver. It was awesome. And yeah, you could totally do that.
I will say, when we look at this Lightning McQueen, this brand new cart. For me, like the Sakura Hop Rod covered a lot of those tracks. Because it came out like right at the end of all these new tracks coming out, all these like brand new retro tracks being introduced to the game. It gave me I think like 2 Mushroom Gorges. It gave me like 2 Sky Gardens. It gave me like 2 Bowser's Castle. For me, Pink Shy Guy Ninja and Sakura Hop Rod have, especially in ranked, have been absolutely phenomenal this year. Now I know the past ranked tracks may not be introduced again, so that was kind of definitely one to enjoy while it lasted the last couple months. But this has been one of my favorite investments, are these 2 items, and you can't go wrong with Kamek and Shy Guy Ninja either. So this is a pipe that I would highly recommend. One last topic I was going to bring up is one trend I'm picking up on early this year is that it seems like they're reintroducing newer items earlier. Usually, they would give us a new driver and we'd have to wait 6, maybe even 9 months before we saw it again. Or in the case of Bowser Santa, a full year. Whereas I think just, when we saw Luigi Vacation, we've seen him now twice since he was released in January. We've seen Volendam come back again after maybe 2 or 3 months after she was released. And now here, Shy Guy Ninja Pink coming back again too. So it makes you almost wonder if that changes your strategy at all for a week 1 pipe. Like, PD, will PD come back in 2 months? Like, are they going to introduce him in a special pipe, kind of similar to, Pink Shy Guy Ninja or Volendam or any of these drivers that were brand new that they've kind of Charging Chuck, etc. that were new and then they've brought back much sooner than they have in the past. So I'm kind of curious. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean they're getting a lot of the hotter, even older drivers which were rarer, like Santa Bowser. We missed him for a year. He's already been back in another pipe this year. I think Meowser's even come back in a special pipe, which we didn't expect to see him for like 6 to 9 months at least. So yeah, I think skipping pipes is less risky these days. If there's a driver or a glider or cart that you want, you have a better chance that it will come back in a later pipe.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if you're going to get a new item, just get it and then put tickets on it immediately, or just wait. They're like the pulling and stashing. It almost is kind of the leakage that Kevin Garrett talks about, the Ruby leakage, where you pull for something, you sits on your inventory at level 1 for 3 months, and then it comes back again. You're like, why did I pull it? So I don't know. It's a question that you have to kind of ask yourself. But for what it's worth, all these items are super valuable. I highly recommend this pipe. Probably one of my neck and neck with the pipe that I put a lot of energy into early on. So highly recommend it. As for the packs, I think these are actually a little bit better than we've seen the last 2 tours. We have this brand new 1-Up Mushroom, which I actually really like this pack. I think with gliders in general in these new packs, it's tough to tell because it's so early on. But to Antelev's point, these 8-bit have always been pretty good. I don't know. I'm tempering expectations. I think if I still have to pick between this 45 ruby pack or next week's 45 ruby pack, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go with next week unless I already have it maxed out or something, because this 8-bit Fire Flower is really, really strong. But I think really those are the 2 that you're going to be cashing in on. Those are best bang for your buck. If you just need to get, say if you're able to, allocate maybe $100 or whatever for the tour, I would just load up on these 2 packs, and just try to get as many of these as possible. Whereas I've personally decided to skip the 90 ruby pack with Fire Rosalina and the Magic Parasol. I'm not even getting that. I did get the Tanuki Kart one, and that's really where I think my thought process has shifted over the last couple months since this new one was introduced. We kind of shied away because the value, like thinking about like high-end to Ruby exchange or high-end to cash exchange in this case, it wasn't quite as valuable. But the item you get is actually one that you're going to want to use. It's pretty strong, at least above average strong cart from the meta perspective. I think its coverage was really unique, and then slowly they've kind of given some of the new carts its coverage, but still a really strong cart. So for what it's worth, I'm basically deciding to flip what I was putting into the 90 ruby pack with 2 items in with this new item, and just not getting them all on purpose. But honestly, I'll probably skip out on the 90 ruby pack next week as well with this Builder Toad and the Clanky cart, or one of the variations of this clankety card, whatever it is. But ultimately, I highly recommend the glider packs. And if you're gonna get a 90 ruby pack and you can only get one, I would probably go with the least valuable on paper when you think about number of high ends that come with it. But the best item, I think, out of any of these items, which would be the Tanuki card. What's your thoughts here on the packs, Antelope?
I more or less agree with you. The 2 glider packs are where the money is at. The 8-bit Fire Flower, that's number 7 in our top 10 rankings. Even though after all these months, it's still and it's in ranked. And the new 8-bit 1-Up Mushroom, it's going to be good. So that's really, I've really been buying packs the last few tours. I bought the 8-bit 1-Up Mushroom 3 times. I'd probably, like my 8-bit Fire Flower is level 8. It's the first glider I leveled up to level 8. It's maybe 6 months ago I would say it's my number 1 glider in the game for me. Wow. And I haven't been using it as much lately, but it's still up there in my top 3, top 5 gliders, I would say. And for the rest, the 2 item 90 ruby packs are not so interesting. The Magic Parasol is okay. It's the former top 10 or top 15, I think. It's now down at number 30, so it's a pretty decent glider. It's just not fantastic. And it's after its window is sort of passed. And Farrah Rosalina, kind of same thing. And she's not even that bad. She has great coverage. She's sitting at number 27 on our list. So still definitely an above average driver, but not a good skill and a bit older. And she doesn't get the ranked appearances what she used to get. The worst pack is definitely that Clanky Kart and Builder Toad or Explorer Toad or whatever he is. And then the Tanuki card is, like you said, it's yes, quality over quantity. I'm still just kind of annoyed at this trend of putting like single items in 90 ruby packs. So it's and Tanuki card's a great card, number 6 on our list, and it's in ranked I think twice this week, and I'm not sure if it's in ranked next week, but at least you could use it on 2 tracks this week if you buy it. But yeah, it's pretty steep to pay $40 for just a card.
Yeah, but if you're gonna get rubies anyway, you might as well get a nice card to go with it. I will say this commemorative card, the Dark Hop Rod, pretty strong. Again, it came out pretty guns blazing really hot last year, and then it tapered off. And I think it still probably gets some pretty strong coverage. I'm using it on maybe 2 or 3 tracks when it comes to my my coverage. tracker, but it's being used in ranked, and if you have to go with one, I think it's one of the better commemorative carts that we've seen, considering the fact that they haven't really given us much in the way of useful carts in the past. Premium challenge, the opposite experience. They're just not a great glider. You can pass if you kind of hand select which one you're going to go, and you have to pick between the commemorative or the premium challenge. Commemorative cart might be a stronger cart for you, but either way, you probably know what you're going to go with. And then for the week 2 tier shop, got Ice Mario, the most garbage of all drivers, and then the Poison Apple cart.
Poison Apple.
Not a big fan of that either. So week 2, not a big fan. I will say, full transparency, I did pull the trigger on the Cat Cruiser in my tier shop for this week, just because it was like one ticket away from level 7. So it'll be interesting to see if I ever use it, but probably not. Anything you want to add there?
No, the Dark Hopper. One thing is the Dark Hopper gets a spotlight boost, a commemorative spotlight boost on the first cup of every track. But I think there's only one track in ACR where it gets boosted to the top shelf. I think it's like one of the RMX Vanilla Lakes. But it's an interesting one. I mean, Dark Hopper, I'm actually not as high on that one as you are. It was in ranked a lot when it first came out, so that's why it was like rated very highly, because it was in ranked like almost every week for like 3 months. But its coverage is not very good. I think it has only like 13 or 14 non-city top shelf. It just got loaded up with city, so its long-term value is not that great. But again, I think it's in ranked, so you might as well, for the price of a commemorative, it's maybe worth to pick it up, or to put some levels on it if you have it already.
Fair enough. There was some news about the effect that a glider has on increasing the amount of bonus points you get for using an item will be applied to more items. So, Anselov, what's your breakdown? What's the rundown on these bonus points?
Yeah, so basically the too long didn't read version is that in the past, the glider skills would apply bonus points only to the item if you used that specific item itself. So if you have a mushroom plus glider, you'd only get bonus points if you used a mushroom item. If you had a banana plus glider, you'd only get the bonus points if you used a banana item. However, this has been changed, and now if you have a special skill which includes those items, whether you're using it directly or it's on the track, it's falling on the track, you will get the bonus points. Now there are some notable exceptions, but I think the takeaway here is the biggest impact is going to be for giant banana. The giant bananas themselves will not get you bonus points, but the small bananas that they split into will give you 30 bonus points per banana hit. And then also with like Lucky 7, like if the mushrooms from Lucky 7, super horn hits from Lucky 7s, I think the bloober hits you already got bonus points for, but maybe not. Let me see, because I have a spreadsheet here.
So you're saying if you're using a banana glider with a giant banana driver, and that's when you get extra points, or what do they replace?
Yes, exactly. When you drop a giant banana, and then that giant banana splits into little bananas, and then those little bananas hit an opponent, you'll get the extra 30 bonus points for each hit, which can add up if you get 2 or 3 giant banana frenzies. The notable exceptions here are coins are not affected. So coin box, forget about it. They're not, doesn't help anything. And then I think Gigabomb and what was the other one? Gigabomb and no, just Gigabomb and Giant Banana and Coin do not have bonuses for the glider skills. Gigabomb doesn't have a bonus for of course, yeah. For a Bomb plus a glider. So yeah, I think the biggest interesting thing here is like triple bananas, giant bananas, and Lucky 7 drivers, I would say, are going to see the most advantage from this change.
Cool, good to know. All right, awesome. Again, there might be other people that come out with more information later on, but let's get into the buffs, because there are some unique buffs. We're coming out of the Metropolitan Fest. So we actually have buffs that matter for the first time in 2 months, which is really nice. Antelope's excited.
Finally, we get something that changes in the rankings.
Yeah, but this tour is unique. So really, I think anytime you have items that get buffed during a tour or new items during a tour, It really depends on the tracks that are introduced to that tour that kind of dictate some of that. So I would say, we have some unique tracks that have come back, things like Calamari Desert, things like Chaco Island, things that you may not really necessarily, want or need the buffs on. A good example would be in the bottom right of the corner, Pastry Chef Me. You get SNES Chaco Island 2 and SNS Chaco Island 2T. And you're just like, man, that's not great. But meanwhile, you have other drivers that getting really good buffs. If you think about, say, the other side of the coin, the Chef coin, Chef Rosalina getting Sky Garden T, and Rainbow Road 1R. So again, Rainbow 1R has its own little clunkiness to it, but I think overall, like, that's a good buff. Those are at least two good buffs for her. And that's the Sky Garden. There's really narrow air ways there for Giant Banana, and you can really do some damage there with her. So that's a really positive set of buffs for her. I think for my Daisy Tie Dress, aka Tie Dye, the Piranha Plant Slide R is a really good track for her. Now, it's the one track that's not in rank, so unfortunately you're not going to win there, but it's a really cool track. You have Calamari Desert T. This is not a great buff. There's plenty of drivers on that track. The Chaco Island 2T, though, she's the only coin box driver, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Anslev, but she's the only coin box driver on that track. It's just an older track, but we've seen other coin box drivers get that boost, 3 different cups, etc. But that's a good track for her, and it isn't ranked. So you're considering that one a win, but other than that, you may not be quite as excited. Overall, I think that's an above average buffing for her. Cat Luigi, we're not even going to talk necessarily about him. Most likely, he's not got a top skill, so it's not going to be one you're even really paying attention to. Now, if you really like Luigi's, I'm not going to be probably able to help you out here, because the Piranha side, I mean, there's other better options on that track. My apologies there, but we have a number of drivers with 2 buffs. Most notably, the Gold Me Racing Suit getting Calamari Desert R. Not a great track there. Rainbow Road 1R, not a great track either. So although he does get 2 buffs, they're not necessarily great buffs. But you have to think about it, though. He's up to 21 assumed tracks plus 7 cities. That's 28 tracks. My expectation is he'll have about 35 tracks by the anniversary. He's been absolutely bonkers for my account specifically over the last 2 or 3 months. He's been ranked, seems like at least twice a tour. He's been in All Cup ranking. I've used him 6 times the last 2 tours and 8 times in the Cat Baby Tour for All Cup ranking. So he's been an absolute monster, but he is not in rank this tour. So if you were waiting to put tickets on him, I think that there's, just based on how many new skill drivers there have been, people have been waiting to put tickets on him. I think overall, he's been by far the highest return on investment that I've ever had in any driver in this game. So I don't think he's, if you had to put tickets on him, don't regret it. But this is one that it's not going to help you in ranked. It's probably not going to help you in All Cup ranking either. Shy Guy Ninja, though, Pinja, this is a great track to invest in him. This Piranha Plant Slide, a really good, in my opinion, Giant Banana track. There's some, sections that aren't quite as good, but I think overall this is really, really strong. It's really, it's just he and Petey really as kind of the top 2 options for that track for the Piranha Plant Slide. And really, unless you're willing to put tickets on Petey the whole way up, and again, it's not a great boomerang track. There's not like this Ninja Hideaway where there's all these coins around. So I think it's actually a track that helps out Giant Banana more than it helps out Boomerang. But and not that there's like that many coin box drivers on the middle shelf. If I remember correctly, there's only 1, but I have to double check. Ghost Valley 1RT, you have a number of options on that, but not a extremely bad buff, but not the best one there too. So let me count this. Actually, two drivers, 3 coin box drivers on that second shelf. So for Piranha Plant Slide. So again, it's not a bad boomboxable track, but when it comes to the stuff on the track, I think it's better. It's more suited for Giant Banana. Mario Samurai getting some buffs, but unfortunately they're not great buffs. So he has been dogged by Nintendo, unfortunately. I'm not super impressed by these buffs, nor his buffs up until now. And that's really all I'm going to talk about this slide before I let Anslev. What are your thoughts on all these top skill drivers that got buffed?
So like starting with the drivers with 3 buffs, they all got really strong buffs. let's start with like Chef Rosalina. She had 2 Sky Gardens, like you said. I think those are pretty good. Like she's. She might turn out good. I don't know. I mean, although I'm still playing wait and see with her. I need like maybe another 2 tours to see if I like want to consider investing in or not. But I mean, like it's still kind of. She hasn't had a tour yet where I'm like, okay, she's done. No, strong buffs, all 3 of them. Cat Luigi, probably the strongest of the 3 buffs. He got 2 of the new Piranha slides, and then Ghost Valley, which is also in rank. So he's got, any item this tour which has got 2 of the new variants of Piranha slide is gonna their value is gonna go way up just because these tracks are paywalled as hell and really hard to cover. So anyone who gets them is getting a boost to their rating. If you get 2 of them, I mean, it's great. So yes, I know he has a bad skill, but you will see that he really went up the rankings. And then finally, Ty Daisy, we have, I think, one of our biggest jumps in the ratings, like relative, percentage-wise, ever, because her buffs are absolutely amazing. She got Piranha Slide R, which is, of course, new track, high value. Unfortunately, it's not ranked. She got Choco Island 2T, which is in ranked, and she got Calamari Desert T. Those are both Coinbox exclusives. There are no other Coinbox drivers. Those were previous to this tour, not Coinbox tracks. So she got a new variant and 2 Coinbox exclusives, but those are 3 absolute. I know Calamari Desert T isn't like the greatest track ever to have, but I can tell you, I grinded this one with Shy Guy Ninja during the New Year's Eve 2022 tour. It sucks because there's no mid-shelf coin boxers there.
Okay.
And it is a pain in the butt to get 200 actions on. Having her on that track is going to be, if that one ever ends up in ranked, it is going to be a question of who has her and who doesn't have her. So that's actually, I think, a really valuable buff. The model gives a lot of value to Coinbox exclusive or plus skill exclusive, so that the only Coinbox driver or only plus skill driver on a track. So really strong buff for Ty Daisy. If you were wondering about investing in her, I think this maybe helps you make your decision, just because it looks like they're going to give her exclusives in the same way that they gave Gold Yoshi exclusives, and that will give her value going forward. Moving on to the drivers with 2 buffs. Yeah, Gold Bee Racing Suit. I was thinking maybe he was going to overtake Meowser this week. He didn't quite get there, but really, solid buffs. Calamari Desert Old is not the greatest, and RMX Rainbow One Road 1R. That was previously an exclusive for Gold Drybone, so you get a size upgrade there with him, not to mention the base points boost. So that's a exclusive in the sense that he's the biggest available Coinbox driver on that track now. He also got Choco Island 2R as a mid-shelf. Now, Misuits get boosted on the first track of every cup, so he gets 1/3 of value for that. That's also a non-Coinbox track, so if he has that track and he's boosted, it would be like a Coinbox exclusive. He doesn't get extra credit for that, but it's just something I thought I would mention. Pink Ninja, what can we say? He's beasting. He's just getting the ranked tracks and the new tracks every single tour. If you have him and you haven't invested, what are you waiting for? And he got Ghost Valley 1RT, which isn't a great buff, but also another ranked track. That's incredible. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's basically all I had to say about the 2 buff drivers for now.
Is Mario Samurai, will he ever?
Here's the thing about Mario Samurai. He got 2 buffs. They're both tracks where Shy Guy Ninja already has them. So they're both already covered by a boomerang driver that, is probably the most common boomerang driver at this point. Like, the thing about Mario Samurai is he has a decent amount of track. Like, he's number 14 on our list, and the reason why is because he's got like decent coverage and a good skill and whatever, but it's just he is only getting tracks that are already covered by hot and meta drivers. So like, if you have a new account and you have Mario Samurai, invest in it because he will be great for you. But if you have an older account or a more invested account, it's just he just doesn't necessarily add anything for you. So looking from an objective perspective, he's actually pretty good. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be top 15. But
right.
The buffs are disappointing. They're 2 older tracks. I know Ghost Valley 1RT isn't ranked, so that's a good buff, but I mean, it's disappointing.
Okay. Let's round out the rest of the buffs. There's a number that got 1 buff, including Yoshi Goled, who we've mentioned a couple times. A top 5 driver. He gets the Rainbow Road 1, which is, it's not necessarily a great, per se, Coinbox track just because there's a couple glider areas, but overall it's not bad. There are some sections which is really nice. You just have to get the right boxes at the right time. Overall, not a bad buff for him. Got Luigi Vacation getting Calamari Desert, which again we have a lot of options on that track. But he's up to 20 assumed tracks, 9 cities there. The Bronze Me suit, finally getting some value, and he's got now 18 total tracks, 2 of which are cities. He's got this SNES Chaco Island 2T. He's number 8 on our list. He's not too bad. Rosalie Volendam, she's got this nice rank track, this Piranha Plant Slide T for week 2. She's up to 16 non-city tracks, 6 cities, breaks our top 10. I'm probably gonna have to be using her at level 4 this next week, and because there's no other options I have for that track. Berto White get now 22 total tracks, but not a great skill. Kind of skim around here. The one unique one that it's kind of a head scratcher is Pauline Party Time. She gets the Piranha Plant Slide R. Now, of course, this is the same track that you saw the tie dress get, and it's not in ranked. So those two are not necessarily great for it. But anytime you have an old driver, coin box driver alike that gets this buff, that's good for her. But
and she's a heavy, so I mean, you know, if you get better high level, she'd be your best option.
That's a really good point. She is a heavy. I know Anslev is a big fan of Party Time play. I think you do worse, but she's still. It's interesting when she gets a buff, because you just have to kind of wonder what's going on.
She's got 2 really good buffs this year. She got the Koopa K buff, and she got this one now. You know, I mean, I'm not like a big fan of her, but I think she gets a little bit. Like, I don't think she's the worst coin box driver anymore. I would say.
Who is the worst coin box driver in your opinion?
Gold Dry Bones.
Gold Dry Bones, huh? Maybe you're right. He isn't ranked this week. Next week.
He isn't ranked this week. Next week, yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. But the question mark block me suit, he does get an additional track, this Rainbow Road 1, but he does not have. It's not an exclusive track, but it is pretty meta strong just because he's got those base points. But he's up to total of 13 total tracks, 3 of which are cities. So again, you know, I mentioned nine cities earlier. It is 10. It was 9 last tour. Nothing else I'm too excited about for the rest of the slab. What are your thoughts on the drivers with 1 buff?
You know, not a whole lot. You basically covered it. The one thing I do want to mention is that sorry, I got the wrong thing here. The buffs on RMX Rainbow Road 1N for Gold Yoshi and for Blockhead, they are unfortunately that used to be an exclusive track for Rosalina Swimwear, and she doesn't have that many, so she loses an exclusive.
But she is a heavy driver, to your point.
And she is a heavy, so that she's still the best option if you're at a higher level. But that leaves her with only 2 exclusive coin box tracks. You'll see later she drops the rankings for losing an exclusive. She's only got Choco Island 1T, which is horrible, and Mario Circuit RT, 3DS Mario Circuit RT. As there are only 2 exclusives left, so that's a bit sad for her. Yeah, other than that, Blockhead also got RMX Rainbow Road 1R as a mid shelf, which is just interesting to note as a me suit for that me first track buff on every cuff.
All right, good to know. Let's transition into Karts. There is only 1 Kart that gets 3 buffs. That is the Tuk Tuk Kart. It gets 3, including Bowser's Castle R, Bowser's Castle T, and the Piranha Plant Slide T. I think overall, like the Bowser's Castle R and T, I think a lot of us that follow the meta had some really good options there. So I wouldn't necessarily consider that a huge win. But the Piranha Plant Slide T, you might have a hard time getting coverage on that. So from that perspective, you could do worse. But there are a number of cards with 2 buffs, including the Armored Rider. Really strong presence here from the Armored Rider. You see there is now the number 1 cart in the game. It's massive there. It's got a great hitbox. It's still relatively new, still getting peak buffs at the right time. And these tracks aren't bad either. Obviously the Piranha Plant Slide, the regular version, really, obviously it's a brand new track, but it's certainly a paywall track there. I can see, just looking at it right now, there's not a lot of options for you on that track. I think the Dark Hop Rod is probably the most popular one, the one that most people might have an option for. Everything else is relatively new, some baby stuff and some doctor stuff. there is the Black Turbo Yoshi, which you might have. It is a little tougher to get, but I think this Armored Rider, you'll see a lot of people in ranked having that cart.
Yeah, this
and
might
if you
be
need
the
to
week.
invest
This
in it,
might be
go
the
for it.
week. If you have it, this might be the week to take it up.
100%. Thankfully, I have this Dark Hop ride, and like I said, if you don't have the Armored Rider, get that commemorative cart and just ride it out. The other samurai item that you saw there, the Warrior Wagon, it's still a really strong cart, similar hitbox. We'll say my hitbox, but that's going to help him out a lot. The downside, though, that these tracks are the Calamari Desert, are you would much prefer the buffs that the Armored Rider got comparatively. And then we saw a huge jump from the Dragonfly, which we'll talk about more in the top 10, but the Piranha Plant Slide and Ghost Valley 1RT, you definitely like that Piranha Plant Slide. Now, this is one some may not have, but it's already been repeated. Again, kind of what we were talking about earlier. These new items coming back into the game, even before they've hit their peak. So that was, if you got it last tour, you got it when it originally came out. Not a bad one to invest in. You'll notice it's number 11 on our list, which is quite a jump. We'll talk about more. Flower Cart, Antelope's favorite cart, now up to 15 assumed tracks, 7 cities. Get these Choco Islands, which could do worse, could do better. I would prefer some of these other items these other buffs, but not too bad. Number 15 on our list. As we talked about, this Black Turbo Yoshi, Cream Cat Cruiser, Green Yellow Capsule Cart. Some people put some value in some Coconut One. I think everything else, we kind of got some baby stuff. I will say my tropical truck, my favorite cart of the year. It now has 10 assumed tracks, 1 city, number 65 on our list, with this Piranha Plant Slide T, which is a ranked track. It's an awesome buff there.
Buff.
Yeah, the Calamari Desert T, though, again, not a great buff there. But the Piranha Plant Slide T, you're really happy about that. And so what are your thoughts on these carts that got 3 or 2 buffs?
So the cart is it's a small cart, and nobody's really that interested in it, but it did get some really good buffs. Got 2 Bowser's Castles and Piranha Plant Slide T. So those are pretty. I think all 3 decently difficult tracks to cover. Green Cat Cruiser is the only cart to get buffed with 2 Piranha Plant Slide variants. It got N and R, so not both ranked ones, but still, that's a huge boost to its value. I remember a lot of people saying during that Cat Tour, Baby Park Tour, that the Luigi pipe was the one to point to, and the Green Cat Cruiser might end up being like a sleeper cart. So that's kind of backing that up. The Dragonfly, Armor Rider, and Black Turbo Yoshi all got the same exact buffs. They all got Piranha Plant Slide N and Ghost Valley 1 RT. So they got the new track and also another ranked track. So all 3 of them got jumped up huge in the rankings, just because those are 2 pretty quality buffs in terms of having 2 ranked tracks and one of the new paywall tracks. Both of the Goo Goo Buggies got similar buffs. They each got 1 Piranha Plant Slide variant to 1 Yoshi Circuit, and then finally the disappointing ones Firefly, Coconut One, and Warrior Wagon. They all got 2 Calamari Desert variants, which is yes, you got 2 buffs, but unfortunately, I think it's disappointing for.
What's the worst buff? If you have something, would you rather get Calamari Desert buffs or Choco Island 2 buffs?
I would rather get Choco Island 2 buffs, because I feel like we see it more often. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we have so many Choco Island tracks. I don't know. Neither one of them is so great. I mean, I would like the Flower Card. I can't complain because it got 2 buffs, but I mean, it's not necessarily the ones you want them to see. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the worst buff is probably a random RT, but the RTs are in ranked this week, so it's not that bad.
Fair enough. Let's get to the carts with 1 buff. We have the Yellow Off-Roader getting a really strong buff here. The Piranha Plant Slide R. Again, it's seen just about everything under the sun. So to get a brand new track like this, again, this is why we do the top 10. The Yellow Off-Roader has been in the top 10, 4 or 5 months now, and it is still getting all the right buffs. And if you're riding these top 10, this and the Golden Wings, if you've been doing the Yellow Off-Roader and the Golden Wings, and you invested in early because it was the number 1 cart, the number 1 glider at the time, You've been absolutely loving life. Now the downside is this: the plant slide R is not ranked, but it's like when you're trying to get good coverage, you're trying to make sure that, because I'm sure we'll see these tracks. Anytime we have like a new retro track, it comes back like 3 out of the next 4 tours. At least that's kind of the trend that they've had. So even though it's not in R, even though R is not in ranked right now, I'm sure it will be in some time over the next maybe 2 months or so. Other than that, I don't really have that much to talk about. The Sakura Hot Rod, it's an okay buff. That's one I've been keeping my eye on. But maybe you really like that. Other than that, not too excited about really any of these buffs here. What are your thoughts here, Antelope?
I'm with you. I didn't write any notes on single buff items. I mean, like yellow Auraria, obviously it's amazing, but for the rest, not so interesting.
All right, let's just go ahead and transition to gliders then, because we have the Pretzel Glider. Shout out to the Pretzel Gang, getting 2 Sky Gardens and 2 Choco Islands. You absolutely love the Sky Garden buffs, just because it's a newer track. But I do think that Sky Garden in general, there are a lot of strong options when we think about the top 10 meta. Things like Wonderful Wings, things like Golden Wings, things like 8-Bit Bullet Bill, etc. So you might just want to take a look at your coverage and see if that helped you out. But it is up to 7 assumed tracks, 9 cities. Obviously, it came out with a lot of cities, and that's going to be one thing you're gonna. I think Nintendo might be giving a good number of buffs now, trying to make up for. Geez, what was a very rough intro. You have 3 gliders with 3 buffs, including the Green Cat Parafoil, the Red and Gold Umbrella, and the Flyberry Book. Obviously, the Flyberry Book being introduced, and the Green Cat Parafoil being introduced a number of tours ago, whereas the Red and Gold brand spanking new. A lot of these, I would say, kind of the Red and Gold Umbrella. It got some similar Sky Garden love, and then they got the Calamari Desert. So kind of same thing goes with these Sky Garden tracks, is that there's some really strong meta gliders on that, but still paywall. So if you don't have those, you didn't get those and get those packs, etc., not a bad one for you. Yeah, not so excited about the Flyberry Book. I think that there's a lot of strong options there already. And then the Green Cat Parafoil. You see these 2 Yoshi circuits, and you absolutely are banging your head up against the wall, because those are the Yoshi circuit. You're covered there. I don't think anyone's worried about the coverage there, so that's unfortunate. I will say one of the biggest jumpers across all lists have been the Sakura Origami Glider. I know some people got really excited about this glider and then have been scratching their heads since, but this was a big tour for that. And then it gets the Piranha Plant Slide and the Piranha Plant Slide R. So these are 2 obviously brand spanking new tracks. So it jumps all the way up into our top 10 list at number 6. Phenomenal job there. It's up to 19 assumed tracks, 4 cities. So if you like the Sakura Origami Glider, you're really, really happy about that buff. Outside of that, we have the Record Setter at number 3. A really, really strong glider. Certainly one that's a lot of people invested in. It was in that special pipe. We love special pipe items in general. New items that are introduced during a special pipe. But I think its name to fame there is the Piranha Plant Slide T. Really strong track there. It's a ranked track. You gotta love that. And then Candlelight Flight, number 2 on our list. Really, really strong glider there. Getting like the perfect buffs there. I think for me, as I mentioned earlier, there's a number of options that have both the Piranha Plant Slide and the Piranha Plant Slide R, and these are the hardest 2 for me for coverage. With the T, I'm already covered there with the Golden Wings, whatever. So, not Golden Wings, something else. But ultimately, like, this is one I'm going to have to think about. Candlelight Flight being number 2 on our list, it's probably going to be the one I'm going to go with, mainly because it's got 24 assumed tracks. That is a lot. It also does have 10 cities on top, so that's all icing. You're really happy about that. I will say, to the flip side to the Sakura Origami Glider, the regular Origami Glider, not good buffs. It is number 21 on our list. Even though it's got similar number of assumed tracks, it's just got a poor line of sight on good tracks compared to the Sakura Origami Glider. And the Tulip Corsage, you're pretty impressed with those buffs. It's just still a newer item. We'll see what happens to it, but I'll actually like those buffs for it. And so, what are your thoughts on the gliders with 3 and 2 buffs?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it. Like, the big surprise for me was the Sakura origami glider, but I mean, we got 3 gliders who got the exact same buffs with 2 of the Piranha Planet Slide variants. They all 3 got N and R. That's Candlelight Flight, it's Tulip Corsage, and it's Sakura origami glider. No, Tulip Corsage is like really new, and it started off with those like 8 or 10 cities or whatever. So obviously it's got some work to do, but those are some good quality buffs. So all 3 of those jumping up like pretty high in the rankings. And Candlelight Flight, it's really amazing to see a glider like that, it's not an old glider, but it's basically seen every major course. I think there's maybe still some RTs which it hasn't seen, but for the most part it's done getting buffed. So I think it's 2 new tracks out of nowhere. That's really amazing and well deserved number 2 place on our list. 24 tracks is really the S class of gliders in this game right now, especially when it's got some good quality stuff. What else we got here? The Flyberry book, like you said, it's 3 buffs. Usually 3 buffs happens maybe in the first tour or 2 after it comes out. So getting 3 buffs, this late of a day is pretty nice. But the quality of the buffs is it's okay. It's not great, not bad, not great. Green Cat, it's disappointing that it's 2 Yoshi circuits, although it does get a Piranha Slide. Other than that, no, you basically Golden Wings is on the 1 buff slide, but it did get PPS, Piranha Planet Slide T. So I guess you will have with Candlelight Flight and Golden Wings, you'll have all 3 covered.
You could certainly. It's kind of similar to, I think it was one of the all the Warrior shipyards. I think there's a lot of Candlelight Flight, and I think there happens to be 1 Golden Wings too. You might have to look at those. It's both 2 underwater tracks. I'm already kind of mentally associating those 2. Just kind of seems like they're getting kind of some similar coverage overlap there. Mm-hmm. Gliders with 1 buff, as we talked about. Golden Wings get this Piranha Planet Slide T. 27 assumed tracks plus 11 cities, so a total of 38 total tracks. Guys, this is the dominant glider of 2022. It's basically, I'm trying to think back when it was entering into our number 1 spot. But guys, this is similar to the Black Raid sale last year. Like this glider, if you have not put tickets in it, you have been fighting it for so hard. And I don't know when you want it to, put the white flag of defeat, but it is an awesome glider. Absolutely wonderful. Now, the one downside is that it does have some overlap with the Wonderful Wings. So if you do have a lot of, at least from what I've seen, I've been kind of watching Sammy D, and he's had the Wonderful Wings at a high level. And every time I'm like, oh, look, it's the Golden Wings. Gets this. Oh, never mind. Wonderful Wings also has it. So he's covered there. It just seems to kind of get similar tracks. They both have this Piranha Plant Slide T, along with the 8-bit Fire Flower. So this Piranha Plant T, by far, the easiest one to get coverage on. I don't think anyone's worrying about that next week for ranked. 8-bit Fire Flower, obviously a powerful top 10 over the last 6 to 9 months. As we're going through, the Green Sprout Gang gets this Piranha Plant T. I would say with these other 3 items that are all kind of meta leaders here between Golden Wings, Wonderful Wings, and 8-bit Fire Flower, all getting that same track. I would say this is not a good buff for the GSG. I'm sorry, guys, but the good news is that it is number 18 on our list. It's got 16 non-city tracks for cities. Hopefully, it does have quite a resurgence later in life. Nothing else really catches too much my attention. I have the Wicked Topaz, and I invested in it really early. I haven't been I think out of all the things I have invested in early this year, that's the one that I probably am the least bullish on. For whatever reason, it hasn't gotten great buffs. And I try not to be biased with my items, like items I've invested in. Out of all of them, like that's the one I wouldn't say regret, but that's the one I probably would take back if I could take back any of them. It just doesn't have great buffs there. Angela, what are your thoughts here on these gliders with 1 buff?
Yeah, I mean, like the Wicked Topaz is a typical case of getting hit really hard with that Metropolitan and Bangkok tour like back to back, because those Doctor tour items and Peach vs. Bowser tour items, they were in their like peak buffing time during those tours where a lot of cities were getting handed out. So that's just an unfortunate, byproduct of timing. I really thought Wicked Topaz when it came out. I didn't go into that pipe, and I was really regretting not having that item because it had such a really strong start. But yeah, indeed, it has really failed to kind of take off. But we'll see. It's still got plenty of tracks to see. If you could get up to 20 or so, something like that. I think the Peach First Bowser Tour items still have 110 tracks left to see. So I mean, more than half the tracks in the game, the retros you can see. So plenty of room for buffs, and we'll wait and see. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be investing in it now. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot. Like you said, we were pretty generous with the tracks for the next week rank Piranha Plant Slide T. Some probably you have one of those 3 top level gliders, or you have the green sprout, whatever. So, but it's a little bit disappointing. Kind of like Flight Gecko only got one buff. You would hope they would be giving it more buffs to help it overcome its difficult start.
I'm with you there. Let's get into the top 10. We made some big changes here the last couple months. Is now Antlev's algorithm. We like a lot of the changes. I think the most recent change was allowing for items that were in ranked recently to get a nice strong presence there, but that does taper off as the months go on. But it's not like a for X amount of months like this is really strong. It does taper off, which is nice. It's much better than having it just kind of a hard stop and just kind of having it fall off a cliff. But let's talk about the drivers. As we talked about, we have really like 1A and 1B. That's Meowser and the Gold Me Racing Suit. Both really, really strong. I will say I'm using the Gold Me Racing Suit a lot more than Meowser here recently. But this is a really good tour for Meowser because we finally get these the 3DS Bowser's Castle come back. So for All Cup ranking, he's used again. It's been a while since. I think I've only used him like once a tour for the last two or three tours, which is fine. Coming out of Metro Fest, you're fine with that. But it's been a while since I've really used him quite like he was at the beginning of the year. But he's got that big hitbox, and he's still relatively new coming out this year. And so he's the buffs that he did get, things say like the Warrior Shipyard, Sky Garden, those type of tracks. They're nice to see. As they're recirculating throughout the year, you're really happy you have him. He's certainly strong there. But again, they're kind of neck and neck. They probably will be. I do believe that the Gold Me Racing Suit will take over next year. Next tour. It's just been so strong, and this isn't even taking necessarily consideration of those base points. So if you are kind of have them mentally and you're tied in your head, those base points are really, if you've invested in other Me suits and gotten them for those 70 rubies, then that one's probably going to be your number one. Charging Chuck, though, all three of these holding out from last tour. We did see a little switch up between Luigi Vacation hopping up 2 spots, while both Yoshis fall 1 spot, Yoshi Gold Egg and Yoshi Kangaroo. We have Kamek holding out number 7. The Bronze Me suit going up 1, replacing Peach Explorer, who fell 1. And then the big jumper on this top 10, Rosalina Volendam, up 4 spots to number 10, thanks to that PD Piranha slide track and ranked, the T version. It'll be fun to probably use her for ranked for the first time next week. We have Shy Guy Ninja, again, strong driver. He's been in our top 15 really nonstop for the last 14, 15 months. Really strong guy there. We got Pink Shy Guy Ninja at 12. He's on the rise. We'll see what happens with him. Silver Me Racing Suit fell a little bit, but he's still got that Me base points boost there. And then Mario Samurai at 14 and King Babam Gold at 15. Angela, what are your thoughts on the top 10 drivers?
Yeah, so the reason why Yoshi Kangaroo, Yoshi Gold Egg both fell, even though Yoshi Kangaroo is in ranked and Yoshi Gold Egg got a buff, is Luigi Vacation basically just leapfrogged them. He got 2 buffs, I think. So his value just went up higher than them, and he's also got some ranked appearance going on this tour. I know the top 3 didn't change spots, but Gold Me Racing Suit is getting really, really close to Meowser now in terms of value. Not quite enough to overtake him, but like you said, I think probably next tour he will do so. We have a 5% blanket bonus boost from Me to try to kind of account for the base point advantage. We could increase that if we feel like he should be taking the number one spot at the moment. I haven't done it yet, but maybe we'll discuss it next week and see if that needs to be increased or not. But for now, we leave it as it is. Other than that, we have two newcomers to the top 15. That's Pink Shy Guy Ninja and Mario Samurai. Like I said, Mario Samurai has good coverage all the tracks. He just again case he has a lot of overlap. Might have, a Chuck or another, more new hot driver which you invested in. And also his timing was very unfortunate. He came out the same tour as Samurai. He came out really close to Yoshi Goldag, really short after charging Chuck, so there was just not a lot of people who had rubies to pull for him. Other than that, nothing really to talk about. Mario Satelev fell out of the top 15. He's at number 16 right now.
Wow. He had such a strong year too.
Yeah, I just, he didn't get any buffs and he's not ranked, and he's still, I think, one of the best drivers in the game. He's just not, he'll come back around.
Yeah, I think he'll probably hover in that top 20 for quite some time. I'm sure about that. As for the karts, Armored Rider made the biggest jump. It leapfrogged from 4th place all the way up to 1, pushing down Cupid Zero, Jukebox Buggy, and Combo Cruiser. But really, out of these, these top 5 karts, outside of the Jukebox Buggy, all of them are massive hitboxes. And so you're really, really strong there. That's a trend that you'll see probably till the end of time, is that things with giant hitboxes are going to be in the top 10 for karts. That's pretty a given. But you do have the Jukebox Buggy in there bucking that trend, mainly just because it has really strong paywall coverage. Came out right at the perfect time just to get all these retro tracks that came out. Kind of similar to the Tanuki Kart, who's holding out our number 6 spot. Again, it's in that pack, and it's an above average hitbox, but not massive. You do have the Prop Kart, which is above average hitbox, but didn't get any buffs, didn't get any treatment this tour, so it's down 2 spots. The Warrior Wagon up 4. We kind of talked about that earlier. The Rombi Runner, which I'd love to hear from you, Antlev. We've kind of seen the Silver King fall off, and then even this Cactar, which is at number 10, falling 2 spots. You've seen some of these, what I consider the meta trifecta, kind of falling. But Rombi Runner staying there. Why is that?
It just has a lot of tracks. I mean, Silver King has a few less tracks, and also I think Rombi has less RTs. And remember, because we haven't had a trick tour in such a long time, the value of RTs has fallen a lot, relatively speaking. Before, when we had more trick tours in recent history, an RT was worth about 60 to 75% of a normal or reverse or trick track. That's now only worth about 40%, just because the recurrence of RTs in cups is so low relatively. Once we get an RT tour back, maybe we'll see some of those other cards who have a lot of RTs jump, and we'll see Rombi fall. But for right now, it's basically just up there because it's got such great ACR coverage.
But while you say that, it's kind of interesting as I look at the All Cup ranking. We have 1, 2, 3 RTs, which comparatively isn't a lot, but you're right. I mean, we really haven't seen a lot of RTs.
On a standard tour, we have 3 RTs and 33 and RNTs. So that's like 10% or less than of all types of tracks.
Yeah. Interesting there. And then as we round out the top 15, we got the Flower Kart at 11, Dragonfly at 12, which jumped up a lot. Tiger Bruiser at 13, Magna Broom at 14, and Jet Cruiser at 15. What's your other thoughts on the top 10 karts?
Armored Rider, it's like with those great buffs that it got, it's not surprising. I mean, you see the risers here are all carts that got buffs. Tanuki Kart managed to hold its spot. They didn't get buffs, which was unfortunate due to it being featured in the trailer, but it managed to hold its spot due to it being in ranked, I think, twice, so it gets some boost in value there. I think the most interesting things are the movers in the top 11 to 15. The Flower Kart went up 13 spots to number 11 based on its 2 buffs. And also there was a remeasuring of the Flower Kart hitbox. It went from a kind of above average cart to an extra large cart. We I guess remeasured it from a couple of different angles, and it's bigger than we thought originally, and which makes I think sense with the experience because it feels like a really massive kart. And then the Dragonfly jumped 20 spots to number 12, and it was actually, this is the most surprising mover I think this whole tour. So first of all, it got, you know, two great buffs. It got the Piranha Planet Slide and Ghost Valley 1 RT, so 2 ranked tracks and 1 of the new tracks. And I was looking at the, you know, why is it actually like ranked so highly? It's a new kart. It's up to 16 non-city tracks, which is not a huge amount, but it has some like really valuable tracks. You know, it's got Mushroom Gorge T. It's got you know, Sunset Wilds T, which was just in ranked. It's got Yoshi Valley T, which is a difficult one. You know, it has some really high quality tracks. You know, and it's pretty new. It's still got some buff potential left. So that's kind of a sneaky one that I didn't really expect coming.
Nice, awesome. Cool, let's talk about the top 10 gliders. We have Golden Wings holding down a number 1 spot and probably going to hold it down for the rest of the summer. It's just such a strong glider. It's basically put its lead up even farther than it already was. Then you have Candlelight Flight up 1 spot to number 2. The Record Setter up 3 spots to number 3. And then the Wonderful Wings making a wonderful jump up 6 spots to number 4. Fortunately, in order to make room for those 3 drivers, the Galaxy Glider fell 3 spots to number 5. Sakura Origami Glider up 14 spots. So a lot of movement on this slide, and to hopefully let us know why that is. And the 8-bit Fireflower up 8 spots back into the top 10, as it was in the top 10 for quite some time. And then some major fallers here at the back end of the top 10 with the Starry Great Sail down 3. 8-bit Bullet Bill, even though in ranked, down 1 spot, and then Sky High Flyer down 6 spots to number 10. Rounding out the top 15, you got the Ship's Wheel at 11, Glindering Parasol at 12, Black Great Sail at 13, 8-bit Super Mushroom at 14, and then Pink Gold Meteors. Both no meteors in the top 10. Just a couple tours ago, we had them both there. And so, what's your thoughts on the top 10 gliders? Why is there so much movement?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these gliders got like really strong buffs, you know, and like got double buffed. So that is really, you know, like Security Origami Glider, it got 2 of the Piranha Planet Slide variants, and same with Candlelight Flight. You know, that adds so much value to a glider getting 2 new tracks in our model. That, you know, tracks are given value for being new, for being in ranked, and for being paywalled, and new tracks generally are all 3 of those things, you know. Yeah, so if you look at the big movers and the ones that went up, they all got like these high quality buffs, at least 1, in some cases 2.
Usually what we see is maybe like 1 of the 3 tracks that are brand new get like you know, the glider, but to get 2 out of 3, there's no RT, so
exactly,
like, no Piranha Slide RT, so you know, you're getting 2 out of the 3, and then of course you have, especially if you got 2 of the 3 that are in ranked, it's even better. So yeah, I'm with you.
And another thing, sorry to interrupt you. Another thing which is important to note is that, you know, a lot of these got that Piranha Planet Slide T. We value T tracks slightly more than all others because while they appear in ACR at the same rate as N and R variants, they also are the 2nd most common type of track to be in ranked. So you know, a combination of being the most tied for most common in ACR and being 2nd most common as type of ranked track means that T tracks are actually the most valuable, and that kind of fits together with experience, with a personal experience. You see that the 2nd week T variant is usually the hardest track to cover, you know, in any given tour.
Plus, I think Nintendo does like having a T track. I mean, newer players, they can keep combo better. And honestly, even though they do a really good job of trying to make these R tracks more unique, but they're still not as fluid as like the regular, because like there's just some awkward spots on some tracks where it didn't make sense to have a track in reverse. Just, you know, because like a track was made to go straight, and like, you know, whether it's
like Coconut Mall in reverse is just hard. It's not good.
There's just some tracks that like it was meant to be what it was meant to be, and so just adding jumps to what it was meant to be makes the new players feel like better that they're keeping combo, and the R just there's just some tracks that are a little bit more awkward. So I think that's why they do it that way. It's not just, we're not just saying, oh, well, data shows us. It's like, no, I think Nintendo is trying to do that on purpose, and here's why. Let's talk about those top movers and shakers as we talked about. Daisy Tie Dress, Tie-Dye, or Phasey. She's, as we mentioned, all three of her buffs were pretty strong. I think 2 out of 3 were like amazing. She went up 57 spots, so she went from 85 at her original release to number 28. And I think having her paired, really surrounded by all these top skills, but then, just like in the same way when we had almost like every coin box driver has been followed by a boomerang driver, and it just seems like, it makes it even harder for us to be able to invest in those. Ty Daisy, I think the only negative so far is that she came out in a city tour and that she's not a heavy driver, but everything else has been absolutely positive for her. So you got to like that. Rosalina Chef, she had arguably the worst start out of any driver in Mario Kart Tour history because she had all cities, but all of her buffs since have been really, really good. I've really enjoyed. If you liked Giant Banana, it is Year of the Giant Banana when it comes to introducing this brand new skill, I think 5 times this year. You gotta love that introduction of these tracks. She's got these nice thin Sky Garden tracks up 41 spots. Cat Luigi up 33 spots to number 32, so cut that in half. Pichucata, Dr. Bowser, Luigi Golf, Nabbit Me Racing Suit, Pauline Party Time. She's number 43 on our list, up 14 spots. And then Daisy Farmer and Dr. Luigi. Most improved carts, the Tuk Tuk Kart went up 62 spots. However, it's number 97, so don't get too excited. The hitbox definitely hurts its value there. The Tropical Truck, though, it does go up 45 spots, which is good. It's number 65, though, so it's still on the outside looking in. Still got a ways to go. We're rooting for it, though. Goo Goo Buggy up 33 spots to number 60. Green Yellow Capsule Cart up 31 spots to 38. I'll kind of skim some of these just for time here. I think the more notable one is the Black Turbo Yoshi up 24 spots to number 26. Everything else is pretty high up there, above 50. And then for most improved gliders, we get the Red and Gold Umbrella up 43 spots to number 72. The Pretzel Glider, it did go up 37 spots, but it is at number 100. So again, plenty of room to unfortunately got a really, really bad Metro introduction there. Green Cat Parafoil up 33 spots to number 23. Certainly one to keep an eye on. Flyberry Book up 24 spots to 24. Spider Glider up 22 spots to 36. Super Mario Kart Glider, haven't seen that one on here in quite some time, but it's up 18 spots to number 32. The Secure Origami Glider, as we talked about, went up 14 spots to number 6. With the other Origami Glider up 11 spots to 21, and then the Tanuki Parafoil up 13 spots. Anton, what are your thoughts on the top movers and shakers?
So like we went over most of these already because a lot of them jumped up top 10. We talked about Ty Daisy, and they're mostly driven by buffs. Two drivers that we didn't touch on are Pichucata and Dr. Bowser. Pichucata got 2 Piranha Slide variants, so she actually made a big jump. We kind of forgot about her. But I don't know if I'll ever see her being a top 15 driver, but it's nice to see her get 2 very quality buffs. And Dr. Bowser, a lot of speculation that he might be like the next new Tanuki, Rosalina coverage champion, whatever. He jumped up. He got the Piranha Plant Slide T and Bowser's Castle R. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the Karts, the gliders. A couple of notes on fallers, which aren't pictured. White Bruiser fell down 16 spots from 37th to 53rd, which is probably pretty disappointing for a lot of people who invested in the White Bruiser. It didn't get any buffs. It's not in any rank tracks, and it got leapfrogged by 6 carts who did get buffs. So it didn't get anything this tour, and it was in a bad position that a lot of carts under it did get something. And then finally the Rosalina Swimwear fell down 11 spots, I think from 40 to 51, and that's due to her losing her exclusive coin box track on RMX Rainbow Road 1N.
And similar to the Wicked Topaz, the White Bruiser got just so many of those Metro buffs. Just was kind of bad timing for it. I know that doesn't really represent why it fell off right this tour, but I think that's going to hold it back a little bit. I'm not regretting that move as much as the Wicked Topaz. It still has some pretty strong tracks, in my opinion, you know, things like Coconut Mall and whatever. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that have a little better, a little stronger presence this tour. But I also understand, like, you know, it doesn't really fit the theme of this Piranha slide. You know,
I mean, those Doctor Tour items still have, you know, 108 tracks left to see, so it's still got plenty of time to get the buffs that it needs to get up there. I mean, I know it doesn't have the big hitbox, so that's like a small handicap, but it's still the coverage it does have is quality, so still a long way to go for that one.
Yeah, and I think the reason we've seen so many Piranha Plant like double buffs is just because it's super themed. Like it is the most really themed of all themes. So like if something fits a theme, it just gets a lot of buffs, and that's okay. Versus like other stuff, it just kind of, I don't know, gets a scattered buff. Like this kind of goes well with it. This kind of doesn't. But like the Piranha Plant slide stuff, it gets a lot of classic. It gets a lot of like, you know, stuff that's really tied in with it. All right, let's talk about ranked. For those who got PD Piranha and have leveled him up to level 6, you're going to use him 3 times. 2 if you don't have him at level 6. You get the PD Me suit, which of course is used 3 times, but it's, you know, one you're not going to have until week 2. You got Cat Luigi, Fire Rosalina, Mario SNES, Pink Shy Guy Ninja, certainly one that definitely you'll be using. All of those you can use twice, and there's nothing being unlocked. So Pink Shy Guy Ninja, you're gonna hopefully, you and I are gonna be definitely using him for the 2 times we can. You got King Boo. You can use him actually twice thanks to that Choco Island. There is that level 3 unlock there. You got the Shy Guy Ninja. You can use twice as well. I saw you already using him. Got a nice little boombox run. He's unlocked to level 6. And then the Silver Me Racing suit. If you have him at level 8 for some reason, if you're so lucky, you can use him twice as well. As for the Karts, I think out of all of those who are used the most for ranked, the PD Piranha Pipes, by far the biggest ranked user. You can use him 4 times. Now you have to have him at level 8 though to get one of those unlocks, and level 3 to get that to get one of them as well. But half of them, at least 2 of them, you can use right from level 1. You have the Armored Rider, the Black Turbo Yoshi, the Capsule Cart, the Cheermellow, the Dragonfly, the Frosty Bells, and the Tanuki Cart. All these you can use at level 2, or you can use twice, all like right there from their original level. With the Cream Cat Cruiser and the Ice Blue Poltergeist and the Lightning Streamliner and the Pumpkin Cart, you can all use twice, but you need an unlock. You can take a look at those. The Cream Cat Cruiser at level 8, probably not a likely option. Ice Blue Poltergeist, you probably have it at level 3. It's been around for a while, so that's one you might be using twice. But this Lightning McCloud, the Streamliner, can use twice thanks to a level 6 unlock with the Pumpkin Card as well. And then finally for gliders, you have the 8-bit 1-Up Mushroom, 3 times with a level 6 unlock. The Crimson Crane, 3 times with a level 3 unlock. This is going to be a really, really strong one. I already saw Sammy get really excited about the Crimson Crane. Really, really strong for those who've been playing for a long time. And then the Secret Skull, to make it just a little bit more enticing, you can use it 3 times. However, the 3rd time is due to a level 8 unlock. The Piranha Plant, same boat, except for it actually has a level 3 unlock. So level base, 1 base, 1 3, and 1 8. The Blue Hanafuda, surprised we got another Hanafuda. Every once in a while we have a Hanafuda on here, but the Hanafuda, Green Sprout, Magic Parasol, Wonderful Wings, all those you can use 2 times with no unlock there. With the glittering glider, the Mario Mustache, the Spider Glider, and the Super Mushroom Cart Glider, all used 2 times thanks to unlocks there at different levels. Anything you want to mention here, Antelope?
No, not really. Nothing that really stands out to me, but yeah.
Okay. As for those unlocks, there's nothing that you're going to be unlocking with the PD Piranha Plant Slide. No drivers, no carts, no gliders. As for the Sky Garden T, there's some interesting ones here with Birdo White at level 3, the Mario Me Racing suit, the PD Me suit, and the Silver Me Racing suit, all unlocked at different levels. 6 for Mario and PD Me suit, and Silver you have level 8. And then for the carts, this is the one that has the Lightning McCloud at level 6 and the Cream Cat Cruiser at level 8. With the Cream Toe Beam Balloons at level 6, along with the Mario's Mustache at 6 as well. for Choco Island 2T, you have a lot of options. This one that's been around for a while, including a super option, which is the Birdo Yellow at level 3. King Boo at level 3. We'll probably see a lot of people using that. The Shy Guy Ninja level, if you can, I think it's level 8. If you can have that, that's gonna be a strong track. There's plenty of coins everywhere. It's a very condensed track with everyone around you. But I don't believe there's any.
Level 6, I think.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, okay. You might be right there. It's kind of hard for me to tell. I apologize. But I don't think there's any coin boxes on that second level. Is that correct?
No, that's true. There's not. You need to grind until you get a decent level. It takes a while.
You got to grind to get that. I remember looking at it.
Track for coin box because it's like pretty short and like compact with a lot of like Piranha plants which you can hit obstacles and things.
The downside is that there's so many jumps and there's so many flying glider sections. If you just stay on the ground, I think using say Daisy Tie-Dye, she's gonna be a strong option for you if you have her. That's the option I'm looking at. I have Shy Guy Ninja at a higher level but lower base, and I was thinking about using. When I saw there's no coin boxes on the second level, and I'm definitely gonna be using Tie-Dye. That's for sure. As for the carts, we have a lot of options. The Dasher 2, the DK Jumbo, and Ice Blue Poltergeist at level 3, with the Pumpkin Cart at level 6. We have the Glinting Glider, Safety Glider at level 3, and the Goomba Parafoil at level 6, Paper Glider at level 6. Then for next week, I'm not even going to talk about the SNES Ghost Valley 1RT. You can take a look at this slide. There's just so many unlocks. You're probably good covered here to some level. I think the ones that are some really popular ones, though, I'll kind of just hit on that. You might be using Mario Happy. I think Birdo as a super is going to be an option there. This is the one I'm using. Gold Dry Bones, your favorite driver there, Intelev. But I think Crawly Kart's going to be a really strong option for a lot of players as well. Get the P-Wing in there, and I think those are probably going to be some of the most popular ones you're going to see, even the Dark Trickster for those Halloween fans. And then for the gliders, Crimson Crane's a really strong one that a lot of people are going to be using. Wicked Wings is up there too. Those are just the unlocks though, but there's so many options. You're going to be covered there. You got the PD Piranha Slide T that we talked about. You got the Piranha Pipes at level 8. You have the Piranha Plant Balloons at level 8 as well, I believe, with the Secret Scroll. I'll have to make sure that those numbers are a little larger next time. SNES Mario Circuit 2RT, you have the Pink Shy Guy. This is going to be a interesting track for him. There's a couple options and jumps and everything, but I think that's the one where Go Cooper free running. So most likely you could be using him as well. I'm sorry, that's regular Pink Shy Guy. That's not Ninja. So that's a Heart driver. You're not going to be using that, but it is a super if you absolutely have to. A couple other options when it comes to super driver or super carts and normal carts unlocked. You have plenty of options there. So really, I think when you're talking about the paywall tracks, you don't have a lot of options between PD Piranha Slide, regular, and T, but you do have kind of the PD related items all at your disposal at different unlocks. But there we go for ranked. Let's talk about All Cup ranking MVPs. This has a little different look as we've talked about, but PD being used 11 times. So if you really want that PD badge, you're going to have to level up your PD because he is used 11 times.
And get ready to boombox.
Get ready to boombox. I think Raker was already talking about he's going to have to boombox like 30 out of 36 tracks to be able to get his All Cup rank. He's just invested so heavily in Boomerang. But, hey, he's going to have, if he likes boomboxing, so more the power to him. Mario SNES used 9 times along with PD Mii-Suit, Peach Explorer, I'm sorry, just those two. Peach Explorer, Yoshi Kangaroo, and the Silver Mii Racing Suit used 8 times. Cat Mii Racing Suit, Fire Rosalina, Peach Yukata, Daisy Tie Dress, Daisy Yukata, Birdo White, and Mario Samurai, all used 7 times. Really, there's not a lot of the meta drivers in here. Really, like the most prominent drivers that you might have at a high level might be Yoshi Kangaroo. And that might be it. That's like out of all these, that's probably the one you have at the highest meta level. Maybe Peach Explorer you'd put up there too. As for the carts, there's not a lot used more than 7 times. Lightning McQueen here 11 times. So if you're going for All Cup ranking, This is a really strong cart. I know we've already hyped it up. It's probably the #1 item we've discussed so far this tour. But this Lightning McQueen, this brand new Lightning Streamliner, if you're going for All Cup ranking, pull on it, get it, and take it up. Again, I'm speaking to those PD lovers that are really looking for that badge. Really strong there. It's used just as many times as the Piranha pipes. Tiger Bruiser, your favorite cart there. Antlev is used 9 times. Tropical Truck used 8 times. White Turbo Birdo and Gold Zucchini used 7 times. And then finally for gliders, you get the Piranha Plant Balloons used 12 times. 8-Bit, 1-Up Mushroom, Strong 11 times. Secret Scroll 11 times as well. Then for items used 8 times, Candlelight Flight, Golden Wings, Meteor Balloons, and Record Setter with the Capar Foil, Wonderful Wings, Galaxy Glider, and Silver Surf Master used 7 times. What I think is interesting is the Galaxy Glider in our top 10 fell 3 spots, but it's one of the strongest gliders for All Cup ranking again. It is just such a strong glider. I absolutely love my Galaxy Glider. But Antlev, what are your thoughts on the All Cup ranking MVPs?
Yeah, like we said before, I hope you like boomboxing this tour, because it is all about, we've got, I think in that list we got 3 of those drivers are 4 of those drivers are boomerang drivers, which is crazy. One thing that didn't quite make the list, we have I think Meowser is the next most used coin box driver. He's at 5 tracks on this tour, so you can get some use out of Meowser this tour. Other than that, yeah, I don't think any other coin box driver has 5 more tracks.
I'm hoping I can get enough driver tickets to take Ty Daisy to 8 because I do not want to be boomboxing, man. I want to be using all 7 of her tracks. That'd be really strong. Obviously, Meowser having 5 is okay, but there's not really much. I don't think there's much overlap between Daisy and Meowser. So
I don't think so, no.
I'm really hoping I can use Daisy and Meowser, and then just I don't know, hop, skip, and a jump, try to get to that top 10 or top 100. I mean, just because it's gonna be really competitive. If you are used to getting top 100s all the time, this is one where you might have to get an earlier start. I'm just speaking mainly to myself because I just know there's going to be a lot of people that want this top 100 badge, even top 1,000 badge. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you guys very much for your patience with nearly 2 hours here, Antlev. Thank you very much for joining us, as always. What would you like to say to your fans as we leave?
My fans? No, I don't have any fans. They're your fans, man.
No, I mean, everyone's like, oh, check out the rundown. Yeah, they're Studfit. But Antelev's crushing it right now. No, you're absolutely bringing some really strong value. I'm so happy to have you on the team. And I bet you probably have more fans than me. So thank you very much for joining.
It's fun for me. I still enjoy doing these. And, I just really appreciate the opportunity to do this and sit and talk with you about, the game and hear your thoughts on it and share my thoughts. So, I mean, for me, every time it's a joy.
Awesome, man. Well, I always have a blast, and I think more importantly, we provide a lot of, provide a little bit more context, and even just if we're just talking about it, it might stimulate something in someone's head who's smarter than we are. So,
I mean, I bet a lot of people completely glossed over the Lightning McQueen liner, and they'll now take a second look at it.
Let's hope they do. It's really strong. Yeah, it's really strong. And again, that's just right off its starting coverage. So, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you on a pretty epic season 2. Season, I guess, beginner, where we have some unique guests for Kart Talk. We finished season 1, and we'll be starting season 2, and it'll be, I'm going to let you know now, it should be a fun one. So thanks, guys. We'll see you then. Bye.